So we're seeking happiness outside. I will be happy when I have this relationship. I will be happy when I have this car or more money or more possessions. So we completely always, we postpone, it's conditional, because we engage with the outside material world using the five senses of seeing, smelling, tasting, touching and hearing. Satisfying the five senses. That's what we do. The more we satisfy, the more we need to satisfy the senses. That's how the senses are. There is a greed for more gratification. Again, greed is a distortion of love. We need more satisfaction because we love that more, But there is no end to it, and we feel depleted because everything around us is changing. Good times don't last forever, neither do bad times. Everything is completely, constantly changing at the gross level as well as at the subtle level. At the gross level, our body is made up of trillions of cells, and millions of cells die and new ones are born. At the same time, we are like moving vortexes of energy, how we think and how we feel. Now, especially after the pandemic, pandemic has been a big eye-opener. A lot of people are feeling a lot of anxiety, uncertainty, fear, or regret and guilt. People are facing a lot of extreme emotions due to various situations. Nothing is in our control. We all love to judge and we like to be in control. So nothing is in our control. Everything is so dynamically changing. So in spite of all these changes happening all around us, how can we truly connect with our inner being? And how can we ignite our inner spark? And how can we be so authentically and genuinely ourselves, be ourselves, instead of becoming, instead of trying to impress others, instead of always being in a state of activity, hustling, hankering, chasing, becoming. Because we tried all that, that is not helping us truly connect with our inner being. But we realize the more we become spontaneous, the more we become natural, the more there is no stiffness, there is no barrier. When we feel relaxed and when we feel at home, then we are connected to our true self. We all have experiences, when we have to address a group of people, when we have to talk to somebody. The more we are at the ego level, then our heart starts beating faster. We have palpitations, we are not ourselves. But the more we are ourselves, the more we are truly connected to ourselves, the more. But how do we do that? It's very difficult to get that. It's very difficult to get that, but it's the most obvious thing. It's the most easiest thing, right? So, for example, I'll give you a live example. Now, I'm going to drink my juice. Now, all of you sitting here, I'm going to forget about you. I'm going to dive deep into myself, and I'm going to drink my juice. So I'm going to drink consciously. I'm completely with my juice. So whatever we do, if we dive deep into that micro moment is so deep and infinite. So when we're talking to somebody, be with that person completely there. When you're drinking something, be with the drink. That's it. It's as simple as that. When we're eating something, completely be conscious about what you're picking up from the buffet, putting on your plate. So in many cultures, they used to eat with their hands, because when you eat with your hands, sometimes it's like yoga, all your five senses, like you can feel the heat, you can taste, you can actually hear. When you munch, you can hear that, you can see it. All the five senses of all the seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, smelling the food, everything comes together. It brings you in this present micro moment. So even before I finish the sentence, 6 words, everything has gone into the past. Even before I finish this sentence, everything it's like a river which the same water you cannot touch twice. We came, we met, we introduced us to each other. Everything has gone into the past. So everything that we perceive as our current financial, current health, current relationship, everything is actually a past present reality. Very soon we will see that the next 5 minutes also will become a past present reality. The next one day, days pass, they go past. Months go past, years go past. Everything that we are talking about, the next, that also will pass. And in a day we have more than 70,000 thoughts. That's what positive mind psychology says. And these thoughts are in the dimension, 3 dimensions of time. We are like a fabric woven between warp and weft, time and space. Time is 3 dimensions, the past, present and future. And space is 5 elements, the earth element, the water element, the fire element, the air element and the etheric space. So when our 70,000 thoughts, each one of those thoughts is in the dimension of the past. Generally, we have certain emotions linked to the past. The body believes the body is in the past, produces the same hormones. So this is the wisdom which we need, so that this light can actually awaken us. And it's impossible to control the thoughts and emotions, but at least we are more aware. When we think in the past, usually regret or guilt, which is considered low energy, we should not judge others and we should not judge ourselves as well. Don't say good or bad. When we think about the future, uncertainty, anxiety, there is certain kind of fear. But if you're right here, right now, remember when we were like young boys and girls, we used to jump for nothing, right? Right? If you're traveling and then you're coming back home, you see your cats and dogs, they go mad when they see you because it's attracted to love. They don't know what they do. They circle around, they jump around. When we were kids, we used to do that. That's a natural state. But then for that, you have to be completely in this micro moment. You should be able to see what you do, and you should be able to hear what we say. So we have to go into that state of complete awareness where we observe all the thoughts in our mind without judging. Where we observe all the emotions that we embody without judging. Now, if I am feeling a certain emotion, if I am feeling angry, if I am feeling resentment, frustration, guilty, regret, anxiety, fear, the moment I observe my emotion, that's an inward journey. So satisfying the mind, seeking happiness outside is mind going outside, your energy, attention going outside. 5 senses, seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, hearing, going outside. This is an entire paradigm shift of the journey of going inward, where you actually observe your emotions. So when you observe the emotion, something beautiful happens. You come out of the entanglement. The anger that you have been experiencing becomes the object, and we witness that anger. So earlier it was, I am anger, now I'm witnessing my anger. So there is a disentanglement happening. So anything that you pay attention to, because to pay attention to observe, we need to go back home to our natural state, which is pure light and pure bliss. So we become the seer, and everything else becomes a scene. So this disentanglement makes that strong emotion, which we found it very difficult to navigate due to whatever reason, breakup, grief, corporate stress, toxic stress, and whatever emotion that we are finding it so difficult to navigate, when we observe, that becomes the object, and we go back home to ourselves, and that emotion is reduced to a mere sensation in the body. When I'm looking at you, a snake has no ears. When I'm looking at you, I'm actually feeling my own body. I'm looking at the sensations in my own body. Often what we do is we always think about what the other person is talking to us, what the other person is telling us. Because only 3 things can trouble us. One is somebody else's words. What is that person actually doing? That person is actually moving, rolling the tongue, moving the lips, some sound is coming out, saying something, and that is completely, piercing our heart, and it's squeezing some kind of juices from our body, right? And we always say, why did that person talk to me like that, I have to teach him a lesson or her a lesson. That's the most stupidest question actually, because even that person does not know why he or she is talking like that. There is some kind of an imbalance in that person which made he or she speak like that. It's their own internal strife that they're projecting. Gross level, trillions of cells, millions of cells die and new ones are born. But the subtle level, it's all about 5 elements. So all of us are made up of the earth element, the water element, the fire element, the air element, and the etheric space. Mind is all about etheric space. This is why we experience bliss through that meditation, where we expanded our awareness. We did conscious breathing. When our emotions change, the way we breathe changes. So when we are calm and composed and relaxed, we did conscious deep abdominal breathing. I breathe in like a child. But when I am angry and upset and having some kind of low energy emotion, my breath becomes shorter and faster. I start panicking. But am I able to control my thoughts? Am I able to control? It's impossible. Don't even try. You cannot control anything. Let it do what its nature is. Let ego play what it is supposed to do. Let the emotions come and go. Let the thoughts come and go. That is its very nature. In the ocean, when the wind blows, there has to be waves and bubbles. Its very nature is to arise, experience, subside, arise, experience, subside. Thoughts arise, experience, subside. So going back, so there is some kind of an imbalance. So in these 5 elements in a particular person's body, which is why that person blurted out those words and it's affecting us. So somebody else's words can actually trigger pain in us. Now, when you are listening to me, is your mind anticipating what is this guy going to talk next, right? That's happening, right? So there is something, a faculty in your intellect which is waiting. What is he going to speak next? And there is always yes, no, yes, no. You're agreeing or you're disagreeing. I like this, I don't like this. I want this, I don't want this. So this constant friction in our mind, the thoughts in our mind, just observe that. Because when you observe, you go back home to yourself. Just becoming aware of this, that creates friction in our own mind. So it's not the father-in-law, it's not the mother-in-law, it's not the children, it's not the parents, it's not the childhood which is causing pain. It's our own conflicting thoughts in our mind. Somebody else's words. Or maybe some impurity in our body. We had too much of sugar, we did not drink enough water, we did not eat on time, we did not go to the bathroom on time. So it's some impurity or the conflicting thoughts in our mind or somebody else's words. Now, the moment we understand that the other person is having some kind of imbalance in their 5 elements, and it's just a dance of these 5 elements because of which that person is projecting. We've experienced this. We walk into a room, suddenly, there is argument happening for no reason. Maybe at that moment, that particular person has a fire element which is more dominant, or the air element which is more dominant. This is why we did this, to balance the fire and the air element. So there is a lot of, neuroscience in conscious breathing. There is a lot of evidence-based, if you look at all the ancient practices from the shamanic to the Egyptian to the Chinese to the Asian, across. So there is a lot of literature available from the ancient wisdom, seeing it through the prism of science and neuroscience, epigenetics, and quantum physics. So if we can truly bring ourselves into this micro moment, we are not repeating the same patterns and beliefs in our lives. So everything is a past, present reality. If you are right here, right now, we never touch the same water twice. And at the subtle level, we are not the same person always. If you are in the moment, that moment becomes so deep and infinite, and the only possibility is to tune into the infinite quantum field of infinite possibilities, which is all about infinite human potential. And we can access whatever we did. We are surrounded with this abundance of love, and the more you connect with yourself, once you surrender out of love to that infinite intelligence within us, that's a space where spontaneous remission happens, flows effortlessly. But we are constantly programmed, you need to work hard, you need to be always hankering, hustling, chasing. And corporates have unfortunately become like toxic cancer factories. People working against each other, people hating each other. You know what happens when we hold resentment and anger for a long time? This is why we see, unfortunately, so many cancer cases from corporates. Stress, burnout. And it's always a balance of activity and rest, activity and rest, activity and rest. If you just pay attention, honor our breathing, which we always do unconsciously and take for granted, we just pay attention to our incoming breath, become more aware about our breath, become more aware about how we feel. Pay attention to the gap. Once you completely inhale before the next exhalation, pay attention to that gap. Completely exhale before you take the next inhalation. Pay attention to that gap. If you're in a state of complete awareness, where you're able to see what you do, where you're able to hear what we say, then we go back home to ourselves. You know, we are so busy making others happy. We're sacrificing, making others so happy. But are we connected to ourselves? How can we connect with ourselves and truly fall in love with ourselves? The secret to happiness is actually awareness and acceptance. When you become aware, everything happens, because to become aware, you need to connect with your own inner light. We go back home to ourselves. Whatever situation is happening in our lives, a lot of young children are having this existential crisis, and this message is to all of you young girls and boys. How do we truly connect with ourselves? You know, the analogy is, the mind is like a kite which is flying all around, 70,000 thoughts. And we, the body, we are holding on to one end of the string, trying to maneuver the kite. So what is that physiological reality? I know you like logic, so I'm appealing to your logic. What is that physiological reality that we can consciously use, which is within us, that we can use to align the thoughts in our mind with the emotions in the body? There is no need to stay in the dark. There is no need to lose hope. There is no need to take lives. We just need to go back home into ourselves by focusing on that physiological reality, that string, which is breathing. That thread is breathing. So the moment we do conscious breathing, we are able to align the thoughts in our mind with the emotions in our body. So stay with our breath, do conscious breathing, observe our breathing, and something beautiful happens. So it's like, you're moving something from point A to point B by looking, by paying attention, by honoring, or without paying attention. Very simple. So move your breath, paying attention, incoming breath, abdomen expands, and outgoing breath. So stay with your breath. Our life is between the first breath and the last breath. The first thing that we do is not cry. The first thing that we do is the first breath. Then we cry. Last breath, it goes and others around us cry. So through breathing, we remove a lot of toxins from our body. Through conscious breathing, we are able to create this DMT and all the happy hormones. Because our body is such a complex machine. Our mind is such a complex machine. Our mind is the biggest asset with which we can create all other assets. But we don't do a mind maintenance program. And we focus on a lot of environmental garbage that we create. There is a lot of emotional garbage, pollution which is happening. So we need to purge it out. Breath work is a great way to purge out all the emotions that we collect. Completely detox. So that's a great way to recharge our energy, because all of us need only two things. We need to be happy, happiness and energy to do the things that we really want to do. Life is as simple as that. And how do we transform this strong emotion going back into connecting with ourselves and being, first we need to let go of all the emotions that we have been holding on to, and the fact is that we cannot hold on to anything. Can we hold on to an emotion? Imagine there is a fly in this room. It's like a fly in this room. We are trying to close the door and the window, telling the fly, do not go away. That is exactly what we are doing. by holding on to an emotion. Let go, completely let go, and let the love flow through us, It's not that we love somebody, but we become love. We become so clear in our mind, so heartful, and so busy with our hands. And align with the cosmic consciousness, the universal intention of making everything happy. Be more soul-driven, be more purpose-driven, and be natural, be spontaneous, feel at home. Retreat Palm Dubai, M Gallery by Sofitel, is the first 5-star wellness resort in the Middle East. So we curate these experiences, all these experiences are inbuilt very consciously into our retreat packages. So we do this arrival aromatherapy and color therapy experience, where we actually tell you to choose one color out of 7 colors, which connects with you at the moment. And through those color cards, we spray an essential aromatic oil linked to the color, because the color that you've chosen is linked to your emotional need for the moment. We know that. And then we do conscious breathing, and then we connect to our own bliss. We have created beautiful rituals like a self-care sleep ritual in the evening. 8:30, we set up the bathtub with flowers, bath oils, bath salts, meditation music on TV, wellness tea. So when you pamper yourself through our body, we pamper ourselves and we connect with ourselves. We're moving vortexes of energy, how we think, how we feel. We attract people and situations in our life according to how we think and how we feel. So, through conscious breathing, through conscious eating, through conscious drinking, consciously being in that moment, whatever you do, be 100% there. Because, children are like a fountain of enthusiasm, because they don't have any doubt in the mind. We only ask questions when we are unhappy. When we are happy, we never have any doubt, We never ask questions, why am I happy? We only ask when I'm unhappy. So children, every single cell, when it becomes fully conscious, then you can tune into situations, whether it is an investment decision or a management decision or a life decision, whatever decision it is. Don't use less KB, only the head, There is head-to-head communication, heart-to-heart communication, there is soul-to-soul communication. Let every single cell of our body become so conscious, whether it is good for me, am I feeling light and expansive, or, is it making conflict? So you can actually make right decisions when you tune into situations. When every single cell of our body is so conscious and fully alive, you are in this present moment, inevitably we'll be in a state of enthusiasm and bliss and happiness. So it's all about elevating consciousness.